Hello.
Hello. Good morning.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Why are you so loud?
That was my question.
Maybe if we do like this,
Yeah. Oh, that's better.
it's better.
I don't sound so like dominating. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see if we can change this. What if we're like this?
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Much better.
Okay. It's Friday the 13th. Halloween. No. Um, no. We're approaching end of November 2021. And we are approaching, or some parts of Germany are approaching lockdowns. We're not in a lockdown or approaching a lockdown yet. And I hope we will not get into one. And that's not really a topic today, but it kind of connects to that also. And it's the idea now of like these last 6 weeks until the next year.
hmm
And the question is like, what are you going to do about it? Like, what's your plan? Do you have a plan? And yeah, let's talk about that. Have you thought about like, what are you going to do in these like last 6 weeks of this year?
What am I going to do?
Yeah.
Okay. Luckily for myself, I always have plans
Mhm.
in place. Sometimes some of them play out better than others. Or sometimes I can commit to my personal plans better than others. But generally, what I want for myself, I'm able to achieve because I know what I want my body to do for me.
Mhm.
Right. And when I say my body, I mean, my mindset as well. Right. And so, I think one of the main topics, something that we're now like kind of alluding to is, the last 6 weeks of the year, we start to get into the holiday parties. We start to get into, timing of hopefully, fingers crossed, coming together, right? Where there's food, where there's commitments. So our kind of routine is not thrown out the window, but it's changed.
Mhm.
And how do we not get completely thrown off by that?
Mhm.
Right. And having a plan in place means you make a commitment to yourself.
Mhm.
Right. And I think what freaks people out the most is, well, if I put a plan in place and I can't commit to it, then I've failed.
Mhm.
And that's a pretty shitty feeling to have.
Mhm.
So I guess the question is, even before you kind of go down that road, is creating the mindset of what to do when my routine is compromised in a way.
And what would you say is like the first thing you want to do? Like, what is that absolute like first small tiny baby step you should do?
I think the first thing that I would do is just plainly just acknowledge the fact that this time of year is not the rest of the whole year, right? This is a snippet of time. It's 6 weeks. It's not that much. So to acknowledge the fact that I'm not going to be able to go to the gym 5 days a week, right? Or I'm not going to be able to cook all of my meals the way that I do them, right? And to know that there are going to be changes in the kind of the next few weeks. And to acknowledge that that is simply going to happen, right? Of course, you can avoid everything, right? You can, but that is not sustainable. because there's always going to be things in your life that come out that throw your routine out of whack for a moment. And that's okay, right? We're not robots.
Yeah.
So the first thing that I would do is just acknowledge the fact that this next 6 weeks is going to be out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm thinking the following is this that I think is important to acknowledge is that you were kind of tempering into this, and it's okay to like set a plan,
Mhm.
and then basically it's also okay when you misstep
Yeah.
outside the plan.
Yeah.
And this is the thing I want to also maybe get to, is that if you don't create a plan at all, then you're kind of willfully blind.
Shooting in the dark.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
shooting in the dark, and it's kind of this like willful blindness. And I think, I mean, it's very common. It's not only in fitness, it's in many parts. Like, rather than really talking about it or taking this situation, whatever, it's easier to just try to hide from it.
Mhm.
But the beautiful part is, like, if you just put your plan, whatever it is, and that allows you to actually, it gives you some kind of road map, and you're going to be able to see how far outside your roadmap you're actually stepping.
Mhm. Yeah.
So it becomes no surprise what's happening during this time, and you can reflect and create a new plan. But I think the most important part is just to, especially when we are very specific now, is like, okay, break these weeks down.
Yeah.
And okay, there's a dinner party every weekend probably, and you are invited to something like in the weeks. Also, if you're working at a company with a lot of like clients, you're going to be invited to different client parties, and or coffee and cakes and whatever.
Yeah.
And the thing is, if you have already created some kind of plan, you will already know how to approach those days.
Mhm.
And also maybe even create a plan of like, these days I'm really going to enjoy.
Yeah. Exactly. And also don't forget, you're also going to be receiving gifts, right? But I think that it's really important to stay aware of how good you feel when you're on the path that, or the program or whatever you want to call it, how good you feel and how accomplished you feel when you are on that kind of good track, right? And to not forget that.
So what if we would put ourselves into this mindset? Instead of thinking about yourself, think about your dog.
My dog.
Yeah. And we say your dog gets a plan.
Okay.
Has to eat like this.
Yeah.
Has to walk this much.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, in a couple of weeks, your dog is going to be very sick.
Right.
You will be very likely, and I know this from, this is in the literature, and it's there are studies, people treat their dogs better than themselves.
Right. Yes. You've told this to me. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
And so if we put ourselves into the mindset of like, no, I want to create like the best plan for my best friend, or my best, or to my dog or whatever.
Yeah.
And there might be, it's holidays, whatever, you're going to allow to have some feast and everything, but you're just going to be a bit more, have a better idea of what that plan looks like. Okay. So, Tuesdays, whatever, they're not going to be, any candies and stuff. And okay, this week is full of dinner parties. So what is the best option for my dog here?
Yeah. Yeah.
And start to treat yourself as your like best buddy or best friend. And why I'm saying that is because at the end goal is maybe can be very far away, but I think our short-term goal is just, how do I want to start my new year?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's like, it's, we hear this so often, and it's a very, like all or nothing, black or white mentality. It's like, well, I've already started eating the cookies. I'm just going to finish them because I've already, had 3 of them. And I think what that does is it shits on all of the, sorry, it shits on all of the hard work that you've done.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's why I was saying, it's like, think about how good you feel when you're on that track, and have that at the forefront of your mind, during this time when, you're going to be going to those parties where, the options are not the ones that, are kind of.
But there are usually options. So maybe we can just dive into that.
Okay.
So for example, I've been working pretty hard with like my nutrition. I've been training consistently for the last 6 to 12 weeks, and I start to come into a role. But then I get to these dinner parties, and what things should I like opt into? If just bring the mindset to what things am I gonna enjoy having?
I mean, I would always go, obvious things, go for the protein options, go for the meat, avoid the things with sauce, right? Because you don't know how much salt and sugar and cream and fat and butter and all those things are in there. Of course, you can kind of, you can look at the continuum, what's the best choice, what's the better choice, what's the good choice, right?
But I think like a basic rule of thumb, like you said, like if we look at it's a dinner party, then I would say opt in for the food, right? So eat the food. And yes, if you can opt into eating more of the proteins, then eat the proteins and the greens.
Yeah.
And eat yourself full.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And instead of snacking.
Yeah.
And so that's one way to do it. Like eat yourself full, so you're not so
peckish.
Yeah, but then you're not going to have the same kind of want to eat more stuff and other stuff.
Yeah.
And I would also like try to avoid high carb density food with sauce and stuff like that, because it just creates even more craving. But we say, even though there is just an amazing lasagna and whatever, okay, then I would just opt in for that, but simply eat myself full so I don't eat other stuff. Right?
Yeah.
And then it comes to drinks. What should we?
Like drinking?
What should we drink?
I've never told a nutrition client not to have their glass of wine, right? Especially around this time of year. I mean, lucky you if you don't drink. Make it a treat. If you've got 3 parties, you like this word, gamify. It's like you've got 3 parties that week. Choose your favorite party that you're going to drink at. Instead of drinking or the least favorite, the most boring one, you can drink that one. But it's like, make a choice and stick by it. If you got 3 parties that week, make a commitment to yourself, drink it one instead of drinking it all 3. Right?
I would, to be also more specific, I would, if there's like a buffet of different drinks, I would maybe opt into or opt out of like beers and stick to the wine. If there is like Glühwein, I would opt into maybe just having a bit of Glühwein, but
Mhm.
not like drinking several cups,
Mhm.
because it's basically half sugar, half alcohol. And but you know, for the feeling, atmosphere, everything is just like nice to have a Glühwein,
Mhm.
but just maybe set that mindset of like, yeah, I can treat myself with one,
Mhm.
and if there's more alcohol and I want to have more, then opt into
Mhm.
having the wine instead.
Yeah.
Um, but of course, then it comes down to, as I always think with alcohol, is like, why are you even having alcohol to start with? And maybe also you don't have to make any decisions right now, but maybe it's also a thing to think about. Is like, why is alcohol so important for me?
Right. I mean, I think, I look at alcohol the same as I would, a dessert.
Mhm.
Pick your lane for that night,
Mm.
right? If you're gonna have a piece of cake, you're not gonna drink, right? Or if
Mm.
you're gonna drink, you're not gonna have the dessert.
Okay.
It's all sugar,
Mm.
right? It's all gonna be stored
Mm.
from lips to hips,
Yeah.
but I think it really depends on your values and the work that you've done up until those 6 weeks. I don't think that until what I know Germans don't celebrate Thanksgiving, though they have Black Friday, which is like
Yeah, but it's just sale.
it's a sale. Yeah. Anyways, but I think it doesn't have to be like a complete wash of everything that you've accomplished or everything that you've been working for. But I don't think that also you need to deprive yourself or you need to limit yourself, and feel like you're, harshly restricting yourself unless you have a very specific purpose for it. But you need to keep yourself in check. It's like, well, if you're going to work out all year round, I hate when people say, I work out so I can eat whatever I want.
Yeah.
I hate when people say that. And I have a lot of friends that don't exercise and don't work out. And, they say, oh, well, you just work out so you can eat whatever you want. And it's like, no, that's not why I work out,
Yeah, and it doesn't work that way.
And it doesn't, you can't out train a bad diet.
No.
And I think that, I think it's becoming more common now that we see people wanting to get their nutrition in check or start thinking about it in early autumn because they know that Christmas time is a time of indulgence. But an indulgence, it doesn't have to be indulgence. We indulge all year round.
Mm-hmm.
We have everything we want all year round, generally.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that it's kind of smack in our face,
Mm-hmm.
right?
I have another situation,
Yeah.
And it's like, it's a party where there's no food really, and it's more of like a drinks and snacks
Mhm.
kind of party. I would recommend that you try to eat before going.
100%. Yeah.
So try to be full before you go, so you're
Mhm.
not hungry when you arrive,
Mhm.
because you're just going to drink and eat very, very much.
Mhm.
And yeah, I think it also comes down to, again, these kind of simple stuff like, hey, drinking enough water, also in those situations where it's basically a lot about the drinking.
Mhm.
And I mean, I've been through this a couple of times where I've also been just not having any alcohol at all. And I've just simply been opting in for lighter drinks, in that sense of like the German Apfelschorle or stuff like that. So it's just, yeah, sparkling water with some apple juice. And yeah, I like that with ice and whatever. And yeah, then it's suddenly you're social.
Yeah.
But it's strange if you only drink like a plain glass of water.
Yeah.
That becomes like the social awkwardness kind of thing. And but yeah, and then obviously one other thing that is important is to also kind of be, let's say, busy with your own plans and your own priorities. So meaning every time I say no to something that I don't want to have, you don't feel regret, or you don't feel like, oh, I missed out on something, because it's like, no, I have a bigger purpose than this. And it becomes also a feeling of actually relief to be able to say no to stuff. Not that I'm saying that you should always say no, but it's just so simple in one way. Like we take a dinner party, or you said like the Americans or Canadians, you have Thanksgiving. I would just eat turkey until I pop, and if I feel slightly more hunger, I would just eat more turkey, and then I would not want to have any foods.
Yeah.
And that would always be my like trick in one sense to, if I feel like I would like to shoot something or whatever, it's like, okay, turkey.
That's what I'll be doing this weekend. And I love turkey. Yeah.
And I think it's one of those things, if you have some good options, or if it's veggies, whatever. But I would definitely opt in for those simple things, and not the MMMs.
M&Ms.
MMMs.
Like the candies?
Yeah, exactly.
I do like M&Ms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, one thing that could be very interesting is obviously to just put a small like assignment, small tracker or of some sort, and see how it is. So maybe think about like already now how I want to start the new year.
Yeah.
And already start to look beyond the horizon, and not just boom, suddenly land in the next year, but actually think about how you want to start next year.
But even it's like, I agree with what you're saying, but it's like, think about, how do I want to be in May and in June? How do I want to feel in May and in June, and start working towards that, right? Put even that much work in, put even that much more value into, yourself. Right. I mean, like, we're so obsessed with reading about like self-development and self-love. And it's like, but then just,
But I think the problem is that people overdo it in that sense that, okay, I need to now work out 6 days a week. No, for most people to feel better and be a bit better in May, what you probably need to do is, work out 3 to 4 times a week, and simply eat slightly better. And that doesn't mean starve yourself or anything, but just eat slightly better.
Yeah.
And that's going to put you in the right trajectory. Then to try to do everything now, like for 3 weeks all in, like, and just cut everything out and just train all the time.
Yeah.
That's not going to make you happier in May.
Yeah.
Because you're going to quit.
Yeah.
And then you're going to fall off the wagon and blah, blah, blah. So
yeah. And you don't change a habit by changing everything at once.
Yeah.
Right. It's about small steps, walking slowly, starting when you want to start, when you feel, you've got the motivation. Maybe that's in October, right? And you start taking small steps. You start deciding to make, salads 3 times a week instead of twice a week, right? You start upping your protein little bits at a time. So these habits are already like, or they're things that are already kind of like functioning and that are part of your daily life that are like routinized. So by the time we get to these 6 weeks, you know, you're not kind of panicking. Oh, what am I going to do? You know, well, I do already train 4 times a week and it feels good. And it's not like I'm trying to jam it in, because what happens is you come to January and you've just like eaten yourself silly for the last 6 weeks. You haven't, trained, and all of a sudden January comes, you feel like shit,
Yeah.
and then it's like even more panic. It's like, oh my God, like what did I do to myself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe simply have your eyes a bit higher up, like plan a bit further forward,
Mm-hmm.
be in that sense a bit proactive, but also be in one sense deliberate with the things that you're doing and enjoy the moments that you are in. And I also think it's totally fine to say no to stuff when they don't align with what you want to do.
Yeah.
For example, if I really, really, really would like to go to, I don't know, this is like really extreme, but I would really want to go to the Olympics or some kind of super important event, then yeah, I might even say no to all like social stuff. Yeah. Because it's I have different priorities right now. I'm not recommending people to do that from a health perspective, to shut themselves out from all the social things. I think rather the opposite. Like if you're very strong in who you are, you can become like the lighthouse at that party to everyone else to see like, oh, you're the one. So you're training, you're eating good, but you're here in the party and you seem to enjoy yourself. Like, how do you do that? And you can become that lighthouse. So people are like looking at you, asking for advice. Like, so how do you do this? And it's like, yeah, keep it simple. Have these like small routines. Yeah. And it doesn't require a lot of time, anything. It's just the difference is while you are sitting watching binge watching something, or you're sleeping, then I'm already moving. Yeah. And it's not, I don't deprive myself from anything else. I just take out the dead time. Yeah. And then to what you were saying, to it's okay to say no. It's also okay to say yes to something, to enjoy what is being offered, whether it's like a holiday cocktail, So what should you say absolutely no to?
Okay. For, like me personally, like if there's like a cheese plate, does nothing for me. Like, like I could, doesn't do anything for me. And it could be like a beautiful, like expensive, whatever, does nothing for me. But I would say no to that because it's just.
That's easy.
Yeah.
But is there something you would absolutely say no to that you struggle with?
Oh, like anything that's like that's like chocolate, like chocolatey, or like if there's something with like a peanut butter in it. Oh man, like.
So I think one thing that is for me is cheap chocolate. Like that's a definite no.
Okay, so like a Snickers bar.
No, but all like these Santa chocolates.
Oh, okay, and that's like a no, like
cheap chocolate.
It's garbage.
But expensive chocolate is okay.
Fancy.
Because comes down to
quality.
No, but respecting that. So you eat that more deliberately than just these like gallons of
Yeah.
cheap chocolate. And maybe I don't even buy that expensive chocolate at all.
Yeah.
And do you have anything else?
Oh, honey, I love my peanut butter. For me, it's the sweet.
Okay.
It's always, yeah. For me, because I know as soon as I have that one taste, it's like, I want more.
Mm.
And then I want more after that.
So
Yeah.
I love cheese, so I would not say no to cheese. Something I don't like that I'm constantly offered, at least in Germany, is like cakes.
Yeah.
And I don't really enjoy cakes. So that could be one easy thing to just switch the cakes to something
Yeah.
else.
Yeah. Okay. So like savory.
And is there anything that is like, fuck yes?
That I will say yes to and not feel bad about it.
Yeah.
There's these things that are called like 7-layer bars. And they have like chocolate and like coconut
Uh-huh.
and like butterscotch.
Okay.
Oh my God. I have to like sit down to eat it. It's so good. But they're so rich that you can really only have like a portion of it.
Mhm.
So, and I won't feel bad if I have that because it's like it only comes around this time of year.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
cool.
you?
Something that I definitely would eat that is non-healthy.
Mhm.
I will definitely have some alcohol, but I'm going to keep it to Christmas even day. That's it.
Okay. So
And so I don't prolong it to
Okay.
several days.
okay.
Yeah.
So at the dinner that you're going to cook for us, you will not have a single beverage.
Exactly. We're just going to have sparkling water and apfelschorle.
An apfelschorle. It's gonna be great.
With cheese.
Perfect for me. All right. Cool.
All right. Then until next time.
Yep.
Yeah, that's our time.